Hello everyone, I'm Chris with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's video. We're all about the R7 right there. My good buddy Crow Arizona, K-R-O Arizona, allowed me to take his beautiful R7 out, and we're gonna kind of give it a little review. Now, I will say that I have ridden an R7. Granted, it was at the track and it was after riding a full race spec R6. So my opinions, I want to see what it's like on the actual street where it belongs. So let's go check it out. We'll talk about some cool stuff and you'll see some beautiful Arizona scenery.
Alrighty, we're on the R7. Do a little speed run, a little third gear pull. Oh, fuck. Third gear pull. Here we go. Alright. It's a very smooth power delivery. I gotta keep remembering it's this freaking normal shift. I almost dumped it back there because I shifted in the second. So I was in a quick shifter auto blipper. The owner opted out of those. He didn't want to. He's like, I'm better than the electronics. Actually, he said they weren't very good. So I'm assuming it just wasn't good for this bike. That being said, the transmission kind of lends very nicely to really good downshifts. It's really simple, really nice and smooth. Fourth, third, fourth. Yeah, not bad. The transition in the gearing and the power delivery is very smooth, linear, very approachable. Now, in the intro, I did mention that I have ridden this at the track, and my impression at the track was that it was just too soft. The brakes weren't quite as strong as I wanted them to be. The power delivery was okay. Now, again, I was coming off of an R6 that was track prepped, and I mean race prepped actually, and so I don't think it was a fair comparison. So now that I'm on it on where it's supposed to be, I feel like this is a more true representation of what the R7 is. I think when this bike came out, people were expecting it to be sort of this predecessor to the R6, like this high-strung track monster, and it is far from that. It is more closely linked to, like, say, a Ducati Super Sport. Yes, the Ducati is far more cc's and it's faster, but it's more of that sport, I don't say touring, but more of what a quintessential sport bike is, where it's a little more upright. The seating position is nice. Honestly, there's a ton of space on the seat here. Like, I have so much room to move forward and backwards and around, and it's actually very nice. The rear sets are at a good height. They're not crazy. I keep forgetting what gearing I'm in. What shift pattern I'm in, I mean. Went to fifth instead of third. And the rear sets are at a nice height, which means they're not super tall. Like the R1, the rear sets are very high, and it gets you very far down as well. The R1 is a lot more of a risky bike. This is far more comfortable. I'm gonna hop off here, let some cars go. It's rather busy there. I think there was a cycling event that happened here. I think this R7 looks really good, honestly. I like the front end. I like the little slits that they did and little freaking biopic center, little cyclops. I think it looks really cool. All right, let's see if I can not get behind somebody. Oh, wrong gear. Wait, no, I'm good. Gotta remember what freaking pattern I'm in. I keep shifting weird. There's a lot of bicyclists out, so we'll be careful. As careful as I want to be. As far as leaning goes, the bike is very happy when you actually throw it in. I do think there's a little bit of a lag. It's like you do the input and then it sort of goes. You kind of got to muscle it a little bit more. The brakes actually feel good for what it is. One of my biggest complaints of the R1 is the brakes are not good for the amount of speed you can carry. This has a rather good brake feel, where it's just enough power to them, not super bitey, but you can lean on them to help steer the bike. Yeah, that transition, it doesn't want to change directions super quickly. And it's kind of surprising because, you know, you feel it's a smaller bike. Ah, crap. There we go, okay. We got a bunch of bicycles coming the other way, so, oh. Yeah, very nice. All right, slow down through here. Oh, nope, okay. Brakes, I just gave them a lot of praise. You got to give them a little more pressure than I would honestly hope to. I'll tell you what, the front end is very pointy, and what I mean by that is you point it and it just sort of goes there. It does, like I said, it does lag just a little bit. It's the only thing I'm going to say is it feels like you need a little more input than you would like. I do think a little, you definitely benefit from upper body position, definitely getting it over to help steer. But aside from that, it's a fun little bike. You know, I think the simplicity of this bike is really nice too. You're not going to get lost in riding modes and what settings to put it in and everything. Once you get out of the box, it functions really well. And it, correct me if I'm wrong, I probably am, because this is the first time on this, or second time on this bike. I don't see a riding mode. I've played through the menu, I don't see one. If there is, I apologize. But to me, you don't need to actually use one. I think the riding mode, whatever the mapping is right now, is perfectly fine. It does like to be leaned over, I tell you that right now. It's actually really happy on the side of the tire. It feels very planted. Yeah, see that little third gear shove at like 40 miles an hour? It's just a little, it's got some torque. Yeah, you can absolutely play around with that. Have too much traffic in front of us. There we go. It just kind of glides along. Yeah, the bike just kind of glides along. And the transmission is really nice. So what are my thoughts? It's fun. This thing likes to rev. Give it its revs. It likes a full diet of them. But it's also comfortable at a lower RPM. Get a little lay in the front. Just kind of lean on the brakes. We got some bicyclists and we'll slow it down. Yeah, a few little tweaks on this machine, and if you want it to be a track bike, I think it would be a very approachable track bike. It seems like it'd be cheap to maintain, easy to maintain, and again, the rideability on it is really tame. Again, a little tune, maybe an exhaust or something, just to give it a slight bit of power, and it'll be a blast. It's like stepping up from a 390 to something like this would make sense. Heck yeah. Thank you, Crow. What an experience. This actually, god damn it, went the wrong way. Thanks, Crow, for giving me this experience. I appreciate it.
All right, so we just went out for a ride on the R7. What are my thoughts real quick? The throttle is very smooth, power delivery is very smooth. Even though this doesn't have a quick shifter auto blipper, gearbox worked fantastic. It is a twin, so it had that interesting little thump to it. But I don't know, the R1's got a very similar tone to the RS34 1100 factory. This has a similar tone to almost, and hear me out, almost an RS660, borderlining a V2. I know, you probably roast me, I don't care, but that's just what I think. The R7's super approachable, really easy to ride. I do think the brakes, if you're not trying to super lean on them, they work just fine. If you're actually pushing a little bit and you really want them to function stronger, I'd upgrade them. that'd be the first thing to go. Suspension's a little soft. I would also kind of tune that to get a little more stiffness out of it. Let's see what else. I will say that I wish that this dash had like a color display. I don't know if I can get, anyways, I wish it had a color display to it, something simple like that. But again, for what this is, I understand it's more, I don't want to say entry level. I don't think this is an entry level bike. I believe this is more of a second bike to someone that started on something like a 390 or 400. This would make the most sense to upgrade to. And yeah, just a few tweaks, an ECU tune, and this thing would make any track goer super happy. And I do like that front end. That thing's cool looking. Definitely gets rid of that weird front end of the R1 that's like that one character from freaking Star Wars. You know who it is. With that, I hope you enjoyed this little review. The ride was nice. It's a beautiful day here in Arizona. The R7, again, is one of those bikes that's not quite a beginner, almost an intermediate, and it's something that if you're trying to upgrade from a 300 to a 400cc up to something like this, that's what I would do, because it makes the most sense. Or if you want a fun little go-around track bike, a few little tweaks to this, and that would be a nice, approachable, fun, cheap to maintain track bike. So with that, I hope you all have a good one. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.